AITAH for not believing my mom's 57F reason for bailing on me while I28F was in labor. I28F recently gave birth to my second child. My parents 57F 58M live 6 minutes from my husband, and so our game plan was, when I go into labor my parents would come and watch our first child while we were at the hospital. My dad is very involved with our daughter too, but my mom often skips out on play dates and dinners. I set up because she is too tired from work or doesn't feel up to it. For clarification, she works 6-8 days as a receptionist in a medical clinic. I went into labor 2 weeks early on a Friday, and my dad was traveling till Sunday evening. I called my mom, and she said she would be there, but had to run to Target first. She got to our house 2.5 hours later. I was freaking out because I went quickly with my first, and they say you go faster with the second. She got there, and when we laid out all the instructions and said we would likely be discharged late Sunday or early Monday, she was visibly surprised. She asked if we really thought it would be all weekend and she would need to cancel plans. I asked then and there if we should bring my daughter with and call my in-laws to meet us at the hospital, and my mom said it was fine and she would happily watch her. My in-laws are amazing with our daughter and are definitely the more involved grandparents, but they live farther away 35-40-ish minutes. My mom called us early on Saturday morning 5:30-ish and said she had a headache and couldn't watch our toddler. My husband called his parents and they literally showed up in their PJs by 6:15 a.m. I called my older sister to vent about how unreliable our mom was and how I thought she faked a headache to get out of watching our daughter. My dad is the one that plays with her, gets meals ready, does bedtime on the few occasions they have babysat her. I said she just wanted to get out of it because my dad wasn't there to actually do the work. For background, my mom used the headache excuse very often when I was growing up to get out of family things, to have alone time at the house, brothers' football games, church, visiting in-laws, act. Well, my sister asked my dad if it was legit or if she was just trying to get out of it when she realized what a big commitment it was. Well, my dad told my mom, I was 3 days PP when my parents came to meet the new baby for the first time, and she called me an asshole and asked if I really thought she faked a headache to get out of watching my daughter. I said yeah, because that was your excuse to get out of things you didn't want to do while I was growing up. I told her I didn't think she wanted the commitment and responsibility of watching my daughter alone for the entire weekend, when my dad wasn't there to do the hard stuff when she could have been at home enjoying the house to herself. My dad said I was being unfair and said my mom had a terrible headache and almost went to the ER. They got a picture with the baby and left after 15 minutes. AITAH for not believing my mom and calling her out on it. Fact edit: my mom has no barriers to healthcare and have been asked by my dad, siblings, and I to be evaluated by a neurologist, and she has always refused, saying they aren't that bad. This is the first and only time I have ever asked my mother to babysit alone. In the 2 years of my daughter collective, they have babysat maybe 5-6 times for 2-3 hours. This is not a regular request, and they are not common caretakers for my daughter by any means. My mom hasn't been a flake my entire life. This is more of a recent thing in the last few years. She was a good mom growing up and is now pretty indifferent. I can call her and she won't call me back. Same with text, so our relationship as mother-daughter is pretty low communication, and I have accepted that. However, she regularly makes comments about how she doesn't get to see the kids or gets upset when my daughter won't hug her, kiss her when she asks. My husband and I have repeatedly told her that my daughter doesn't need to show affection if she doesn't want to, and my mom will continuously push for a hug or kiss. She very much. So what's the credit for the doting grandma, but without actually trying to build a relationship? I should have called my in-laws from the beginning when I knew my dad wouldn't be available, but I honestly had hoped she would step up given the situation. And y'all, I don't even know how to address the Target thing. I have no idea why that was necessary or why it took as long as it did.